Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th Canto, Chapter 26, Text 13. Meditating. Yes. Can you repeat? Tripto, Drishta, Sudripta, Cha, Kandarpa, Krishna, Manasa, Na, Vyashasta, Vararoham, Grihinim, Griha, Medinim, Dripta, Rishta, Sudriptascha, Dripto, Drishta, Sudriptascha, Kandarpa, Krishna, Manasa, Kandarpa, Krishna, Manasa, Navyashasta, Vararoham, Navyashasta, Vararoham, Grihinim, Grihamedinim, Grihamedinim, Triptorishta, Sudriptacha, Kandarpa, Krishna, Manasa, Navyashasta, Vararoham, Grihinim, Grihamedinim, Triptorishta, Sudriptacha, Kandarpa, Krishna, Manasa, Yavashasta, Vararoham, Grihinim, Grihamedinim, Next.
Triptorishta Sudriptascha, Kandarpa, Krishna, Manasa, Navachashta, Vararoham, Grihinim, Grihamedinim,
Triptorishta Sudriptascha, Kandarpa, Krishna, Manasa, Nayachasta, Vararoham, Grihinim, Grihamedinim,
Triptorishta Sudriptascha, Kandarpa, Krishna, Manasa, Navyachashta, Vararoham, Grihinim, Grihamedinim,
Triptorishta Sudriptascha, Kandarpa, Krishna, Manasa, Navyachashta, Vararoham, Grihinim, Grihamedinim,
Triptorishta Sudriptascha,
Kandarpa, Krishna, Manasa,
Navyachasta, Vararoham,
Navyachashta, Vararoham,
Grihinim, Grihamedinim,
satisfied,
Drishta, joyful, Sudrita, being very proud, Cha, also, Gandharva, by Cupid, Akrishta, attracted, Manasa, his mind, Na, did not, Rajasta, tried, Vada, higher consciousness, Grihinim, wife, Grihamedinim, one who keeps her husband in material life. Translation. After taking his dinner and having his thirst and hunger satisfied, King Paranjan felt some joy within his heart. Instead of being elevated to a higher consciousness, he became captivated by Cupid and was moved by a desire to find his wife, who kept him satisfied in his household life. Purport. This verse is very significant for those desiring to elevate themselves to a higher level of Krishna consciousness. When a person is initiated by a spiritual master, he changes his habits and does not eat undesirable eatables or engage in the eating of meat, the drinking of liquor, illicit sex, or gambling. Sattvika ahara, foodstuffs in the mode of goodness, or described in the Shastras as wheat, rice, vegetables, fruits, milk, sugar, and milk products. Simple food like rice, dal, chapatis, vegetables, milk, and sugar constitute a balanced diet. But sometimes it is found that an initiated person, in the name of prasada, eats very luxurious foodstuffs. Due to his past sinful life, he became attracted by Cupid and eats good food voraciously. It is clearly visible that when a neophyte in Krishna consciousness eats too much, he falls down, instead of being elevated to pure Krishna consciousness. Instead of being elevated to pure Krishna consciousness, he becomes attracted by Cupid. The so-called brahmachari becomes agitated by women, and the vanaprasthas may again become captivated into having sex with his wife. He may give up his own wife and come into the association of devotees under spiritual master. But due to his past sinful life, he cannot stay. Instead of being elevated to Krishna consciousness, he falls down being attracted by Cupid and takes to another wife for sex enjoyment. The fall of the neophyte devotee from the path of Krishna consciousness down to material life is described in Srimad Bhagavatam 1.5.17 by Narada Muni. Tyaktva sadamam sarunam bhujam haret bhajan pakvo tapatet tato yari yatrakat vabhadram abud amushakim Kovarta apto bharatam sadharmata. This indicates that although a neophyte devotee may fall down from the path of Krishna consciousness due to his immaturity, his service to Krishna never goes in vain. However, a person who remains steadfast in his family duty or so-called social or family obligation but does not take to Krishna consciousness receives no profit. One who comes to Krishna consciousness must be very cautious and refrain from prohibited activities, as defined by Rupa Goswami in his Upadeshamrita. Atyahara prayasha cha prajalpo niyamagraha janasanga shalolyam cha sadbir bhakti vinashati. The neophyte devotee should neither eat too much nor collect more money than necessary. Eating too much or collecting too much is called atyahara. For such atyahara, one must endeavor very much. This is called prayasa. Superficially, one may show himself to be very much faithful to the rules and regulations, but at the same time not be fixed in the regulative principle. This is called niyamagraha. By mixing with undesirable persons, or jhana sangha, one becomes tainted with lust and greed and falls down from the path of devotional service. Om Ganatmirandasya Ganagana Salakya Chakshuru Militam Yanatasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Prai Krishna Krishna Bhatale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Guravani Charani Se Satsiyavani The verse was Tripta Rishta Sudipta Cha Kandarpa Krishna Manasa Navachasta Varado Ham Grihinim Grihamerinim. After taking his dinner and having his thirst and hunger satisfied, King Paranyan felt some joy within his heart. Instead of being elevated to a higher consciousness, he became captivated by Cupid. I was moved by a desire to find his wife, who kept him satisfied in his household life. Okay, so this is, I suppose, how a household life is then. There's a wife who satisfies the husband in various ways. Does it stay attached together and whatever the material things and expands due to the attraction to household life. Of course, here is a Medinam Griha Medinim. This lady says, one who keeps her husband in material life. Of course, then we have Griha Medi and then there's Grihasta. Those who live together for the purpose of spiritual progress. Of course, we may ask, is it necessary? So apparently it is necessary because most, those who can live without married life or like that are the exceptions, not the rule. So the rule is that one gets married. The exception is that one don't get married. You could say like that. More like that. Here is, now if we want, okay, the Vedic society is very scientific. So there's brahmachari, grihastha, vanaprastha, sannyas. So that's a deed. So brahmachari life or the youthful state where the intelligence is, the brain is not too damaged yet. You say like that. And that is the four regulated principles is there to protect, amongst other things, the brain. Because if we commit if we engage in illicit activities or sinful activities, while the brain is still developing, then it takes definitive damage. That was what I was told in my childhood. In my childhood was Krishna consciousness. In any case, it's, if you losing semen, getting intoxicating, taking drugs, while actually the brain is still developing. Up until 20 or something, the brain is developing. The physiological body may be mature a little bit earlier than that, but the brain actually goes on until 20, or something 20, I think 20. So then if you engage in these illicit activities in that period, it actually may actually damage the development of the brain. So thus in the modern society we see many damaged people because in a very early age there is illicit activities, including drugs, heavy drugs maybe also, even small, I understand small kids, I don't know, 12, 13 years or something, and illicit sex. But drugs, alcohol, I don't know about so much. I mean, I don't know how far it damages. If you take enough, it certainly damages your brain. But I don't know if it permanently damages the brain in the same way as certain drugs. So in that way, So therefore, specifically, we say it's important all the time, but specifically for the brahmacharya period. But now, who is, in any case, so up to the age of 20, from 15 to 20, or like, the brahmacharya will be trained up until 20 or 25, and then they can get married. They've developed, so they can't damage themselves so much. Okay, so, but up until that point, and then actually that's a natural sequence. Still in the societies like that, kids start in school not at 5, but they start at 6 or 7 or even 5. They go into this kind of preschool training to get used to the schooling, and then they go in school. So it's basically from 5 to 25 there's education, or 5 to 20, or maybe at least to 15 or 16 there's education. Because that's the proper time to get educated. And in order to maximize the educational effectiveness of the education and taking in, you need to live a regulated life. So that is the Vedic knowledge. But that is not known so much in the modern society. It's not acknowledged. It's maybe known or understood, but it's not, in the official policy is different. So that's, in one sense, it's going against each other. On one hand, they want the kids to get educated. On the other hand, they want that it should be a free life in breaking regulated principles. So this is a contradictory. We're living in a contradictory society. It's a self-contradictory society. It's pretending to say one thing, but does a different thing. So like that. And then they have this, then you're supposed to get a job, and then you should be prepared for that. You have to change jobs. You have to continuously go on educating yourself. You're getting old and old, middle age or something. Well, in a time when you're not really, that is, that's for the youth. Okay, so that is our modern society. It's a crazy society in many ways. It's a crazy society, and people go crazy, literally speaking. And they commit suicide on conveyor belt, jumping off the roof. And there was Esbjerg, that was a heavy place. He used to just fall off. Someone was living in the house, and every now and then seeing someone falling down by the windows, I'd say. So that's a cruel reality of modern society. It's a meaningless society. Because there's no meaning. Sense gratification is not the meaning of life. It may be sense gratification is there, but that's not the purpose of life. And when you propose that as a purpose of life, it makes people very unhappy. Well, and in the case, at least they don't become happy. So here is our good king. So now he has enjoyed his senses. He has enjoyed killing animals. He has come back, took a shower. Took some rest, have a nice meal, and now he wants to enjoy with his wife. He's going to see for sex life, as far as I understand. He's captivated by Cupid, who was moved by a desire to find his wife, who kept him satisfied in his household life. So that is what he's looking for. So he is happily looking forward to happy time with his wife. But he's going to be disappointed. Poor guy. These women, they're like projecting something. Yes, no, and then he's going to get some downs and say, I'm dissatisfied, or I'm this and that, and well, in any case, that's the future of the story. It's going to come in the coming verses. So I suppose many times it is like that in the world. So then the man looking, and then, okay, now I'm going to have a nice time with my girlfriend or wife or whatever, and they kind of frustrate them, and then I don't know what is the man starts to beat the woman, and all kind of strange things happens. But then here is, so for me it's the point is that the Vedic society is a progressive society, so it means there's brahmacharya, grihastha, vanaprastha, sannyas. So it's a progression. Well, now we have this book on Darwinism. So the idea about evolution. So that life is meant to be an evolutionary process. So you may go through different stages in order to attain perfection. But the perfection is not to be perfect in sense gratification, but the perfection is then to achieve love of Krishna. So, of course, here's advice. I suppose it goes through all stages. But Prabhupada get into the. He speaks about the neophyte devotee. He says, this verse is very significant for those desiring to elevate themselves to a higher level of Krishna consciousness. And then, okay. Okay, he eats, well, what it says. When a person is initiated by a spiritual master, he changes his habits and does not eat undesirable eatables, or engage in the eating of meat, the drinking of liquor, illicit sex, or gambling. Sattvika ahara, foodstuffs in the mode of goodness, are described in the Shastras as wheat, rice, vegetables, fruits, milk, sugar, and milk products. Simple food like rice, dal, chapatis, vegetables, milk, and sugar constitute a balanced diet. But here's the point, okay, so that is what we're trying to eat. Maybe trying to keep down the sugar, I don't know. In any case, something you keep a balance, so that on one hand you have the strength for your spiritual life, on the other hand you don't want to increase material strength, the strength of lust. Then Prabhupada, but sometimes it is found that an initiated person, in the name of prasadam, eats very luxurious foodstuffs. Due to his past sinful life, he became attracted by Cupid and eats good food voraciously. Because good food and good food. I had an experience traveling Sankirtan, and then someone very kindly served me bread with a thick layer of butter on. That was almost as thick as the bread. And then there was halava. I couldn't understand why at the end of the week there was this lady dancing around in my mind. I couldn't understand. What's wrong? And I went to the temple person and said, I think I have to get married because it's too much. Okay, so and then later on, the other Prabhu I've been traveling with, he's a very nice Prabhu, very kind uncle. He came to the temple and said, I can't understand this week, I've been so angry of the people. In case, we came to the conclusion, I came to understand, I came to hear about his dilemma and my dilemma, and came to the conclusion there was too much butter on the bread, okay. Too much. Otherwise, okay, once in a week. Once in a week on the Saturday, something is okay, but you have it every day, it becomes too much. And it just kind of builds up the passion in the body. And it's not exactly necessarily physical passion, just physical, but it actually affects the mind. I mean, the mind, there's a passion in the mind, and then it don't need to be a beautiful woman or something, just someone, or a man, I don't know how it works, it just like attracts, just as a piece of information, but practical experience. Okay, you have to be smart enough, okay? You have to be smart enough to observe the signals in the mind and understand what it means. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to become married. It just maybe means that you have to check what you're eating, how you're eating, how you're living. So that way you have to be smart. And then, of course, okay, then on the other hand, if you just starve yourself, that may not work either. Why are you starving yourself? But that may be another action of passion. I'm gonna control my senses and my mind, and we just trying to bring down. That may not work either, because it may be born out of a passionate desire to be in control. So we need healthy sattvic food. So some butter, a little bit sugar, some spices, and some grains and vegetables and beans. And then you have fruits, nuts, and then you have a complete, a balanced, I would say, a balanced diet, not a proper species, but luxurious food, and overindulgence in luxurious food. So if that is there, then you have a problem. But if it's nice, sattvic, not passionate, but sattvic food, then it actually gives health, you become happy, the mind is peaceful, and you can think about spiritual life. So when you eat properly, you can actually make nice progress in your spiritual life, and sattvic food. But then when we cook, the cook, if the cook is a passionate person, well, he wants this. In some ways, I think Prabhupada, he cooked very much for himself, or he was very clear about what he wanted. And if you cook for yourself, then you actually more likely what's your state of mind as it goes into it, and you can easily. But other cook, you may get another one's consciousness coming into your consciousness, so to say. That's scary. And that's why I said we shouldn't eat bread cooked by karmis. And then at least we avoid that as far. Because in any case they're putting in this. May grossly and subtly also things put in. Because I don't know, nowadays sometimes traveling or something, I don't know what you do, but it may happen that you take some kind of bread, at least sometimes devotees do that, but one should be aware. Okay, so then, but then he speaks about, Prabhupada speaks about this initiated devotee who is not so advanced and then gets captured and, then he falls down into material life again. And then he also speaks, then he gets in the case of the Vanaprastha also. The so-called brahmachari becomes agitated by women, and the Vanaprastha may again become captivated into having sex with his wife. So that is also, if you take Vanaprastha, think what you're doing. I mean, you take a step, or it's sometimes leave the family life and then put on suffering. I don't like it, because mostly they fall back. Mostly again they get entangled with some woman, so to say. And then what's the point, It's like he says, due to some sentiment, he may give up his own wife and come into the association of devotees and the spiritual master. But due to his past sinful life, he cannot stay. Instead of being elevated to Krishna consciousness, he falls down, being attracted by Cupid, and takes another wife for sex enjoyment. The fall of the neophyte devotee from the path of Krishna consciousness down to material life is described in Srimad Bhagavatam by Narada Muni. But here, there is some sentiment, and then you're trying, out of some sentiment, you're trying to be fixed up devotee, but then you can fall back. Of course, if you fall back, go back to the old wife, maybe it's better than you finding a new wife. I don't know. In any case, there's all kind of combinations of the story, so to say. But then there is this verse here. Yeah, 1:5:17. Let's see if I have it here. Narada Muni. 18. Yeah, the same thing. Okay, but see, here's another page. Then there's another page, another point made. Tyaktva sadamam charanam budyam hare vanyan apakvota patet tato yadi yatrakva bhavadram abud anushakim kovarta aptobharyastam sadharmata. One who has forsaken his material occupation to engage, one who has forsaken his material occupation to engage in the devotional service of the Lord, may sometimes fall down while in an immature stage. Yet there is no danger. There is no danger of his being unsuccessful. On the other hand, a non-devotee, though fully engaged in occupational duties, does not gain anything, Prabhupada says. Or Narada Muni says rather. So there we have a little bit, otherwise these were maybe negative getting. But he says, no, well, even if someone out of some sentiment takes the Krishna consciousness and then fail, still there's no loss. Because it's the process is spiritual, not material. It's not a karma kanda process. So there, whatever little bit progress we make in Krishna consciousness is never lost. Therefore, we also have this Nyabikramanas Pratyavayana Vidyate Svalpamapyasya Dhamma Sharatrayati Matuvaya. I like that one. It gives hope. You're not. In this endeavor, there is no loss of admiration, and a little advancement to this path can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear. So even a little advancement, of course, having the most dangerous type of fear is something, losing the opportunity of human life. But if you progress something in Krishna consciousness, that Krishna consciousness will follow you eternally. You can't get away. You're marked. Your tilak is marked on your forehead. You may try to wash it away, but deep in the heart, the mark is there with devotion or some attraction to Krishna, and it will not be lost. The material accomplishments within Dharma and everything, it doesn't stick so deep, or it doesn't have the same eternal effect. So therefore, there's no loss. Someone takes the Krishna consciousness and glass fails, but still, Prabhupada in these words, it sounds like expressing some frustration with disciples taking the Krishna consciousness and then, being again covered over and falling back into material activities, material life. He's, so to say, a little bit frustrated with that, and that's. Maybe we say natural in a way. And then there is this verse from by Upadishamrita by Rupa Goswami. Atyahara prayashasha prajalpo niyamagraha janasanga shalolyam cha sadvid bhakti vinashyati. One's devotional service is spoiled when he becomes too entangled in the following 6 activities. 1. Eating more than necessary, or collecting more funds than required. Well, eating more than necessary, that I suppose is his words today when Prabhupada speaks, or more than necessary. So then, what we need to eat, we take, and then proper food. Because then, meaning is also quantity and also quality. What is the quality of the food we take, let's say? You can eat a lot if you eat the right, but if you maybe can eat less with the wrong thing. Then over-endeavoring for mundane things that are very difficult to obtain. Talking unnecessarily about mundane subject matters, and practicing the scriptural rules and regulations only for the sake of following them, and not for the sake of spiritual advancement. Or reacting the rules and regulations of the scripture and working independently or whimsically. Then associating with worldly-minded persons who are not interested in Krishna consciousness, and finally being greedy for mundane achievements. So in that way, Prabhupada concludes with that verse. A neophyte devotee should neither eat too much nor collect more money than necessary. Eating too much or collecting too much is called yatyahara. For such yatyahara, one must endeavor very much. This is called prayasa. Superficially, one may show himself to be very much faithful to the rules and regulations, but at the same time not fixed in the regulated principles. This is called niyamagraha. That sounds like, I don't know if that's a hypocrite. In one sense, if it means you pose as being a fixed up devotee, but actually secretly you commit sinful acts. Could be one version of it. That's not good, for sure. I would maybe committing sinful activities on the strength of the chanting of the holy name. And then By mixing with undesirable persons or janasanga, one becomes tainted with lust and greed and falls down from the path of devotional service. So in any case, he is giving some advice. So my point is the brahmacharya stage is a transition stage. Transition. Well, maybe it's a transition over it. Where you're not staying brahmacharya, you're not staying bhakta forever. You're bhakta brahmachari, but then you, what I understand, you move progressing in brahmachari life. Either you take sannyas, or you take married life. Or if you don't take sannyas, you become older, more experienced, and then accept more responsibility. You take some responsibility for preaching or for the service of the spiritual master and the mission. So that is like the progression. Or you take responsibility for a wife or a family. Other cases, a progression towards responsibility. So sannyas have a responsibility too, you know. Be a good example and inspire or whatever, you know, like that. As a grihastha, you have a responsibility to take care of the wife and family and cultivate the Krishna consciousness at the same time. So to say. And help your wife and help your husband and help your kids and help others and be charitable and yes, be if guest comes and knock on the door, you open and say welcome, sit down, take some prasadam. So that is like the grihastha. But that is also transition state. So then you come out to the other end when you go to the vanaprastha, because there may be some sense gratification, more sense gratification in the grihastha ashram, but then you kind of reduce that and go into more renounced state as a grihastha, you could say being as a vanaprastha, and then ending up as a sannyas-like. I mean, leaving everything behind, just